What up, world? 4th&20 Sports. We are live at 5 here on WBLZ Sports, where we got balls. It's your boy, AJ Johnson. Over to my right, Mr. One, the only, Max Todd. Max Todd, what's up, man? How goes it?
It's going well, you know.
I feel like you didn't like the flavor I put on the introduction.
Hey, it was funny as the live at 5. Oh man, that worked.
Oh yeah, that's the first time I came up with that.
Yeah, that's also not going to work when we go on at 7.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Okay. Well, we're live at 5 now. We're re-live all day, every day. What's up, 4th&20 Sports? How y'all doing?
Nailed it.
Yes. You look clean, man. You're looking fresh. Got the hair did.
Oh, yeah.
About it. I got my hair did like a week ago, so mine's is actually on the cusp of not being did anymore. People still do the hair did, by the way. I see you wondering why I'm saying that, but Missy Elliott coined the phrase, and if you ask me, it shall forever be, get your hair did. And I'm pretty sure people out there would agree. Do you not know culture?
I know Missy Elliott, fan of Missy, but no, I wouldn't say that I feel that there will be people out there that say hair did. I wouldn't say a lot of them.
No, it's a lot more than you believe. It's kind of like, you ever seen that Mad TV sketch where it's like, work that updo? And like, you know, the one that's like, can I have your number? Please, can I have it? Can I please receive the secret code when to tell a funny your beautiful number? No? Oh my gosh, remind me to show you that. That is a great sketch from Mad TV. It's a girl dressed up as a very stylish man who is in a movie theater hitting on a white girl. Oh, the guy was black. And you know,
I know that.
Yeah, it's quite hilarious. It was wonderful. But you know,
excuse me, can I talk to you?
Yes.
Where is your boyfriend?
You like Mike and Ike's? Oh, you like it's that sketch.
My favorite Mad TV sketch was always the Bonqueequee.
Bonqueequee was good.
I got a complicated order.
Security. But what I was saying is, as you learn, more people knew that and would use those terms and you would never imagine, and then all of a sudden you hear it everywhere. And that's kind of how Get Your Hair Did came around to me on more or less of a situation. I think it's good. You watch, you're going to start using it. Kind of like how I just lost the game. That's going to get people out there. You won't understand that.
I know. I've played the game. My favorite meme that we used to like put on people's walls was "Lost the game" because they had a board game out for a while. But yeah. It's been quite the slow sports week, man.
It has until it wasn't though. Like I know what you mean. Like we got here today and we were around like not much is going on in a time where we're about to just blast onto the scene. You know, with March Madness coming up and spring training started, baseball starting. Which, you know, same thing. I just was reiterating. The second half of the season of NBA going on. And let's be honest. If you ask me, last season, football started for me in March when it started for the NFL, too. Like, I was right there with every single news pick. But this week, nothing was going on until Tuesday. Big story comes out on Louisville. Wednesday, big story comes out on the Mavericks. Like, and these stories, may they be too, they are quite spectacular in themselves. Like, there's a lot to be had about it. We're going to get into it.
That's an interesting word for it. But, I don't know. I think the best thing that happened this week was Panther coming out.
That was a good thing to
happen. Fantastic movie.
That was a great, yeah.
Not sponsored by it, just a giant nerd. And go see it. Wakanda forever.
I still believe Des Bryant supports that movie. Well, not supports that movie. I don't care. You were nitpicking. Des Bryant should sponsor that movie. They're throwing up the X all day. It doesn't matter where your hands are. When you draw an X with a pencil or pen, it look the same?
I mean, I can make it look different. I think a multiplication symbol can look different than an X.
Yeah, because you wrote it in like 4 font less. That's it. Other than that. Unless you do the little asterisk just to be different. Ooh. You're like the people that write the slash for the divide. Like, why instead of the dot over the line or the dot?
Do you know why the dot over the line and the dot is? It represents fractions. The 2 dots represent the numbers that would be divided.
Listen, I'm talking about a backslash, not what was given to you as as addition, subtraction, multiplication, multiplication. And
anyway,
division.
see Black Panther.
Yeah, you got me off the spot. You're upset that I think Des Bryant should sponsor it? You don't want to talk about Black Panther because I think
Des Bryant's lost his step.
No.
He doesn't get to be cool.
That's Jason Witten. That's Jason Witten.
They're all old now.
They're all old? Des Bryant is old?
Older.
Oh, well, you mean like he will be next year?
Yeah.
And the year after that?
He's not an elite wide receiver.
No, he's a good one. I do think his time in Dallas needs to be over. I feel like he needs a resurgence. He needs something new. It's not
Frankly, he
anymore.
would be good with a tandem like a Jarvis Landry or a OBJ in the sense of a speed receiver. Probably more of an OBJ kind of guy. Yes, it is.
It's probably that shirt you're sporting.
Hey, Darth Vader's all over this shirt, man.
Yes, it looks way. See from there, it looks like flowers. Anyway, yeah, that's fair. Go on. You're right, though. I get it.
but I mean, like, if Dez got to play with a speed receiver on the other side, I think he'd be more serviceable with people going over the top.
Instead of being the only receiver?
Well, yeah. I mean, because they've tried with Cole Beasley, who's actually probably was their better receiver last year. And Terrence Williams has just never panned out for the Cowboys. So
it happens. Well, ladies and gentlemen, 4th and 20 Sports, we got some good stuff to talk about today. As we mentioned, we are going to get into the Louisville scandal that it is that we've been hearing about for years. They finally came down hard on Louisville, as well as talking about the Mavericks situation with Mark Cuban and that so hostile work environment. We'll probably drop around the NFL, and at time permitting, we'll talk about whatever we feel. Something about the draft coming up. Mel Kiper put his 2.0 draft out today, his mock. Some very interesting movements there, but again, it's early. Combine hasn't even started, so you can only take that with so much. But we're going to get into all that today right here on 4th and 20 Sports, where we've got balls. So, Max. Yesterday, Louisville's basketball program lost its appeal, and the NCAA has decided that Louisville will be the first Division I basketball team in the Final Four era to have to vacate its championship. They are losing their 2013 championship due to the scandal, what they called sex for pay, I think it was, where an associate, I think Andre McGee, brought some people in to lure recruits to Louisville by having parties and doing this and that. We don't have to get specific because you probably know the story.
prostitutes.
Yeah, that prostitutes. That's not. I mean, how about escorts? You're telling me that Louisville went for the bottom of the barrel and you go get some high-dollar escorts?
Well, technically, escort is a legal service. An escort technically doesn't have to have sex with you for money because that's not their job.
Prostitutes, the girls in this situation didn't have to have sex either. But when you're talking about 18-year-old boys going to college for the first time just to check it out, yeah. I already know how your feelings are about the NCAA as a whole anyways, but this particular story, how did you perceive it? How do you take it?
I mean, honestly, they're not really doing anything to change the program. Kevin, those kids still have championship rings.
As Kevin Wares alluded to.
Yeah, Rick Pitino still has his tattoo. And no matter what, you're not going to ever take that moment away. I watched them win.
Yeah,
they beat Michigan.
It happened.
That doesn't mean
86,
just like
82,
Reggie Bush
76.
won a Heisman. You're not going to tell me he didn't. I watched him do it. No one else got that Heisman. They didn't go to another dude's house with that trophy and go, "Oh, by the way, you actually won it that year."
So does Michigan get the title now? Is that
right? Is that happening? Do they get to hang a new banner? Does the team that
people believe they
Louisville
should
beat to get into the Final Fours, did they get a Final Four banner now? That doesn't make sense, right?
They did vacate those appearances as well. They no longer.
Yeah, no, they vacated them, but they still got there. The thing that baffles me is why would this really create change? They're giving back some of the money, I guess, what was
So
it?
$600,000.
Yeah, they made way more money just by getting that far in the tournament for that school than $600,000 over the years with just the name Louisville basketball because of tournaments like that. They brought in more people go to schools that win, and people probably went to Louisville because of that. That's more tuition money that they're getting that goes towards the school. More boosters are willing to give money when they see championships being hung. So overall, I think the real thing that they should have done was like ban the program for a year. Yeah. Ban scholarships for 3. I mean, so what? I mean, Louisville still has a reputation, and you're not really damaging it because the coach is gone, that guy's gone. I mean, Louisville still is a hotbed in the ACC, and they were known for basketball. I wouldn't be surprised if kids still wanted to go there and rebuild the program like kids did at Penn State, like kids have done at USC. I mean, USC was on the up and up, and then they fell off. But like they're doing in Miami right now. Took a lot longer than the other programs. But
they went hard on Miami.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was about to say UAB, but they were just bad, and they couldn't afford football for a year or two.
I totally agree with you, which I hate because, I would love to yell at you about something, but this is senseless. I mean, the people who needed to be punished, and Rick Pitino and Andre McGee and the athletic director, whose name I do not recall, from Louisville, they're gone. They're no longer there. These kids didn't do much wrong. Granted, they were some of them were there in the parties that are in question here. But again, are you telling an 18-year-old kid who's going to college for the first time the experience? First off, and let me tell you, I've lived in college cities. I'm from Gainesville. I was there, all my life up to 2013. So I lived through. I was in college when the Florida Gators were winning national championships in football and basketball. I hung out with a lot of those players because I worked in the industry right around the stadium, right across the street from the university. The women the ladies that are put in front of these players are sometimes by their own choice. Don't take it that way. What I'm telling you is like I've watched players just walk in the door and all of a sudden a girl will stop what they're doing just to go talk to them. This is a lifestyle they're used to. This is something they've seen over and over and over again. But not for these high school kids. They've heard stories. They may believe it. They may think about it. But then you take them to a tour and you show them the possibilities of what can be. And it's almost, imagine if you had a virtual reality visor on, and this is what you're walking into. You're seeing this party lifestyle of a college campus with all these wonderful, beautiful women, this and that, having a great time, throwing parties. Everybody's worshiping you, making you feel like you were the best person in that room at that time. You are 17, 18 years old. You have never had this. You don't know any better. At the same time, are you going to walk out? No, guys, I'll see you at the gym tomorrow? No, of course you're not. So these kids were handed an opportunity, which they took, and then a lot of them ended up going to the school. That doesn't change what they did on the court. That doesn't change the numbers they put up. That doesn't change the, 35-5 or 31-5 season. Doesn't change the Final Four appearance from 2012 or 2013, and it doesn't take away.
Certainly doesn't change Kevin Ware's leg.
Yeah, he went down for you boys. He lost it. Stop. I don't. It's so close to in the Elite Eight. In the Elite Eight, that happened. So could you imagine telling this man, "Hey, I know you did everything, blood and guts, literally, to get to the championship."
He didn't get that Got Milk sponsorship.
Can we have a cricket soundbite? Can you just? Is there something we can do? Having an Elite Eight, you know how sad that is. Hey man, thanks for everything you did, but we don't need you in the Final Four. We can't use you because you're broken, and you get to watch the championship from the side. Oh, and then 5 years down the road, we're going to tell you that it doesn't even count. Get out of here. Doesn't matter. I just.
It's one hell of a party, man.
Hey,
but my problem with all of this is they get this punishment quotation marks. But Ole Miss did something recently very similar to that with their football program and prostitutes and whatnot. But they didn't win anything, so they couldn't get anything vacant.
Wasn't that more their coach alone, though? Wasn't it want to say Freeze, but I could be wrong. It's not Hugh Freeze, is it?
No.
But either way, wasn't it more their coach was caught doing this and that with questionable women, so to speak? I feel like, I mean, we can check. You can go on your point. I'll check if you would like.
Right.
You may 100% be right. I remember the story.
From what I understand is that Ole Miss brought in questionable things for the students as well in recruiting. I mean, Ole Miss was a trash program, kind of still is, but they have, 4 top 5 recruiting classes in the last 5 years? They were crazy in the recruiting. And it's because of prostitutes. It's amazing how much prostitutes actually bring in. You would think that wouldn't be a bigger sell, but I don't know.
Again, man, you're talking about kids, like kids on the brink of adulthood, finally getting able to do all the things that they've seen in movies that are rated R, or heard about, or listened to in rap music and other music. All the things that has been put into their face, especially in this era, as a lavish lifestyle, and that they are now primed to be able to leave, and they're getting a little taste of it. Like, you're gonna leave it on the table. You're gonna come into a dining hall with a buffet on the table, like turkey legs, like hors d'oeuvres, shrimp.
Hey man, that's
top
Florida State
notch.
honey chicken is apparently
Honey chicken. Hey, it is. It's top notch. Yeah, put that on the table. You're going to walk into this room and be like, hey, I know those guys out there don't get this, but you guys feel free to have whatever you want. Yeah, I'll watch. You guys have a good time? No. No. You're going to get elected to be the president.
I mean, part of me would be like, this is a test. I'm not good at tests.
So you fail either way. Because now you don't have the trust of those guys that you may be on a team with next year, because you were the one guy who probably went and opened his mouth to the NCAA. Not that anybody did that, but hey, as a kid, that's what I would think. Hey, I'd be like, whoa. So why were you? Yeah, I mean,
why would if I felt that was the way the program ran and I didn't go in, would I go into that party situation that
you probably want to go to school?
Not Pitino ran. Wink for everyone at home. I mean, I would definitely just not be going to Louisville, because I could see that's how it is. I mean, Louisville, they bred a very fun environment. Rick Pitino did. Rick Pitino made it so that these kids felt comfortable and wouldn't tattle on this. They didn't tattle. The girl did.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
And that's really because someone didn't pay up enough. You don't pay, and she probably just actually saw more money for the expose than anything.
I mean, she wrote a book. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
After writing that book, she probably doesn't escort anymore.
No need.
It's
still good money.
Some people actually just like it. You know, that's a thing. Some people are just like, that's what I like to do. It's a lot. It's what I'm good at. Things of that nature. But either way, so let me ask you. Let me ask you this then. Does Rick Pitino, is his legacy completely tarnished? Does he get another job in NCAA, whether it be Division 1, 2, 3? I doubt. But
I would say 1 year's going to go by, and he's going to make a couple of guest appearances on FS1, and then he'll make one on the radio for ESPN. He's still got some fans out there. The best thing that is that Mike Greenberg isn't on Mike and Mike anymore, and it's because he loved Pitino. He was big on that guy. So it's good to see that he doesn't have a way into one of the more popular shows on sports radio. But I don't know. I could see him then getting a couple TV spots, talking college basketball during the tournament, and then another year he'll be in the booth with somebody, and then someone will take a risk, man. The thing is, he won. No matter what, he was a winner. And he may have cheated in recruiting, but that didn't stop the fact that when he had the talent, he was a winner.
Yeah, but the argument is that he shouldn't have had the talent. So you're telling me, though, because despite the fact that Louisville actually was a good basketball program, the thought process here apparently is that these kids only went there because they thought they would have escorts and prostitutes handed to them every single day if they wanted. You know?
Man, you can test for steroids. You can't test for prostitutes. Well, depending on the prostitute.
So, I mean, I would have to say I don't think that Pitino will get a job in the NCAA probably ever again.
I mean, that's fair.
Because here's the thing. This was a big deal, you know, and whether or not they came down to the decision that he had nothing to do with it, he didn't know about it, and this was all Andre McGee and maybe a couple of his boys with these girls and whatnot. The fact is you were still 300 yards away. Why don't you know everything that's going on in your program, number one? Number two, this wasn't the only problem that Rick Pitino had at Louisville. This was strike 2, which eventually would be the third strike because of the other allegation. I mean, you think back to, I think it was 2009, the story came out where he was having an affair or had an affair with one of his assistants' wives, and caused a whole mess about that thing. And then it came out, I want to say 2011, when they were trying to get Bruce Bowen. Maybe it's Junior. It may also be Bryce Bowen. But either way, there was a kid who emerged as a top talent, now plays in South Carolina. They talked about giving this kid's family $100,000. Not up front, but they were going to funnel it to them one way or another. And when he went pro, he would have to represent Adidas with his contracts. And that's a big no-no. That's not something you can do in the NCAA, especially trying to get recruits. So, I mean...
Well, and that's not the only example. Nike has done that through AAU leagues, too.
Yeah,
Nike has made it so that you could only... If you're going to be in this league and you're going to be on a team in this league, you're going to go to a college that's Nike uniform.
Yeah, but there's no money involved. Like, I don't think the big deal of it being the whole Adidas thing came out was because that's where the mass of the money was going. So, not only was the contract, the 10-year contract that Adidas had with Louisville... A lot of that money wasn't going to the program. It was being used to pay Rick Pitino. And then on top of that, Adidas was a part of the plan to pay this kid $100,000. So, like, Nike is like, hey, you can be a part of this, but when you go to college, you still have to represent us. I can see how that's a little different. And, I mean, it's not like they're saying you have to go to this school. You know, you still have a broad, selection of schools to go to represent Nike. But with it being Adidas being a part of the paying out of a recruit who was going to end up going there, that becomes a bigger deal. So when you have all this, it's one thing to overlook something like he had an affair with somebody on his staff's wife. No, I'm not condoning it. No, it's not correct to do. But, you apologize, you public statement, the way this thing works in these type of areas. Cool, he's a winning coach. We forgive you. Don't do anything stupid that way. But then you have another one when it comes to recruiting, and then you have a bigger one when it comes to recruiting, with it being the money and the sex scandal. It's not worth the hit on your program. I don't think so, at least. Give him a pro job. He'd be fine.
Yeah, but what I would say to that is, a lot of people thought that Lane Kiffin was untouchable there, and now Lane Kiffin's got his own program. But completely different.
Yeah.
Not the same.
Yeah.
Like, Ole Miss guy's not going to get a job again. Probably. I mean, he also didn't win, even with the cheating. It's also like, I don't know. Something about it just doesn't, like... It's bad. You shouldn't buy prostitutes for young boys to convince them to go to your school to play basketball. I understand that. But it's not like... They deflated the ball, or they bent the rim, or made sure that annoying noises were playing the entire time that they were out there. I agree.
We both agree. There's nothing that should have been that happened to the program as it pertains to the kids who play on there. I'm 100% okay with that. When it comes to the program itself now. When it comes to the thought process of Rick Pitino and his staff, I think they handled it a little bit better. And the other thing about this isn't over. As far as I've read and seen and heard, the FBI has so much more stuff, and they're probably going to be dropping hammers on a lot more programs around because the Adidas thing, the $100,000 to the recruit, was one of a few stories. Different coaches in lieu with other teams pushing that out. Rick Pitino was referred to in documents as coach number 2 or something like that.
And to Anthony's point here about the guys going to the University of Oregon, correct. No one goes to Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, right. That's exactly why.
But one of the perks is knowing that they're sponsored and they get all those cool uniforms, especially for football. But that's a perk to signing with them, not a bribe to sign with them. Sure. Everybody already knows the uniforms they're going to get. But when it comes,
they do a good job of pushing their facilities.
Yeah, and Nike helps fund that.
Yeah,
because Nike made that giant deal with Oregon. Honestly, if it weren't for really that high-speed offensive Chip Kelly and being flashy, I don't know if that deal's still going.
I'm pretty sure they have like an AD or somebody high up in Nike who actually went to Oregon.
Okay.
And yeah, I remember reading that. I don't remember his name. I feel like that came out when everyone started raving about their uniforms, and then they started showing the new facilities that they were putting out there. I remember reading that one of their high staff.
But like the point is, like Nike doesn't go, all right, well we're going to give this guy $700,000 so that he comes to Oregon, because otherwise they'd be good at basketball. I mean, they're not bad.
They just came out of Final Four appearance.
I mean,
Jordan Bell's playing with the Warriors right now, looking great. I don't know when the last time they did that was. I'm pretty sure the year before they were at least in the tournament.
Right.
Jordan, yeah. While Draymond was hurt and they were having big man problems, they had Jordan Bell in the rotation for a while, and he was putting up good numbers. People were talking about him. He's gonna find his way. I guarantee you find more minutes for Jordan Bell this second half of the season, especially with all the talk of the Warriors being quote unquote tired. I mean, Jordan Bell was someone we were raving about. Steph said it. Dre said it. KD won, so he didn't have any problems about All-Star Weekend. But yeah, they all said it. Greek Freak's about to chill too. Thank you, Phil Knight. I believe. Yeah, that sounds about Nike right. Check. Yeah. Don't hate.
Thank you, Anthony, for fact checking that. Need a job.
All I was able to find out about Ole Miss was before they went out. Definitely was Hugh Freeze, and theirs was also bribery through recruits with money. I didn't see anything about escorts, but
maybe he's the one that got prostitutes.
Yeah,
I know prostitutes were involved.
You're up to date on all the prostitute news. Is that right?
I get that right on the phone.
There's an app for that.
It sounds like BuzzFeed. I won't go into it.
4th&20 Sports.
Sorry, Mom.
Hey, sorry, Mom makes it back into the show.
It's been a minute.
I know. I never have to do that because I'm an angel. My mom knows. And before you say the next one, here we go. I hate you. 4th&20 Sports. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to give you guys some messages from our sponsors. And then we'll be right back. We're going to jump into some talks around the NFL. We might get into
about the Dallas Mavericks.
We are going to get into the Dallas Mavericks. You ever let me finish my thoughts? And of course, right on the other side of the break is Bruh. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these short messages from WBLZ Sports, where we've got balls.
Yet we never left.
You thought we were going somewhere.
Right.
Every time.
It works. Yeah, honestly, it's how people stop watching the show.
I think we're leaving. We're not going anywhere.
Whoever's sticking around, we do appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Still working on figuring out how to get you guys to be calling in. We'd love to have that talk. We're also going to be having soon some random days where we're going to be posting about being on live just to talk to you guys. You can send us your messages and we'll talk about whatever you want, whether it be sports or anything else.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have an opinion about everything. It drives this guy crazy.
This is what he does. This is what I like him to do. Remember that one? Or are you too young for that one?
No, that's Austin Powers.
Okay, just kidding. All right. Hey, nice. Well done. I know, but
I like how he says, "Am I too young?" when he always calls me the old guy.
I don't. Everyone else does, and I'm going to ride that to the death because I'm older than you. If everyone else is going to call you old, I'm 100% okay with that. Why would I let that
Fun
go?
fact for the people who are
you're not allowed to do that. That's like if I was a woman, you were going to tell my weight. You can let it go.
No, I was going to say, yes, he is older than me. We went to the grocery store. I went to get beer, and she doesn't card me. He has also beer behind me, and she cards him. I was like, why didn't she card me? And she goes, we don't card people that look over 30.
Granted, he did have his beard going on. He wasn't clean shaven and haircut. Like it was close to like just before Forrest Gump let it all go. Like it was right.
I get there's a lot of pain behind these eyes, but it's 27.
All right, we're gonna jump back into it. You about ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, in 3, 2, 4th&20 Sports. We are back. Thank you guys for sticking with us here on WBLZ Sports. We've got balls. First half was great. We got into some good stuff about what's going on in the world today with Louisville. Hopefully they'll figure a way out to not hurt anybody else's feelings, blah, 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 like these little kids. But we're going to move on to one of our favorite parts of the show, bruh. Now, we do got some new people in and about, so I'll let you guys know. If you don't know what bruh is that part of the moment when you're watching something on TV, sports-related, maybe not sports-related, that just makes you sit back and go, for real? Did that just happen? Bruh. Like, for instance, Max.
Yes. Now, I have seen some great performances of the national anthem. I loved Whitney Houston, breathtaking. I loved what I saw from
Marvin Gaye?
Yeah.
Clutch.
Even Pink did well.
Pink did do well. And she was sick.
But what I saw at that All-Star game, not only were those intros mediocre at best, not to hate on Kevin Hart, but come on, bro.
There was just a few that were decent. The others were like, I didn't hear you.
They didn't care. You're too small. Although making fun of the Earth. The Earth is round, Kyrie. The Earth is round. But what Fergie did to that national anthem was more than just like an artistic license on something. I mean, that was awful. And not only did I think that, and I was in the middle, I was watching the game while playing a game. I was playing my Madden, and I had to stop playing Madden because I was getting so frustrated by this weird Marilyn Monroe "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" sounding nonsense. Don't even want to call it that, because so many baseball games I've been to, and the national anthem is a big part of that. Like, it is how you know baseball is starting, and it is beautiful. And I know all the words. I don't really sing along. I'm not standing up at home, but when I'm at the game, I am. But Colin Kaepernick stood up from his knee to tell her to sit down and stop ruining the anthem. That's disrespectful. This was awful. And bruh, Fergie. My favorite article that happened with this was Fergie going, "I did my best." Yeah, kind of.
In a way.
Yeah, but we're funnier. But it just makes no sense. And for Charles Barkley to be sitting there at halftime and just be like... and then the look that Draymond was making, Steph was looking confused.
Paused again.
Yeah,
Shaq's like, don't do
no
that.
Sense.
Don't do that. Leave it alone.
Shaq has a crush on Fergie or
Leave
something
Fergie alone.
because that made no sense to defend her. I didn't like it at all. But, bruh. Fergie. Get back with the Black Eyed Peas.
No, I see why they let her go.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Bruh.
It got me that NBA players in the All-Star game were on the bench while the game was being played and looking at tweets about hating Fergie's national anthem and liking them. Like Steph Curry liked 5 of them. Draymond was about 7, 10, 18 of them. Draymond Green about paused the game. He's like, I can't even believe this is happening. I'll give you this. I liked the attempt of the thought process she had. The execution was poor.
The fact that the Bare Naked Ladies did their version of "Oh Canada" better than hers for America, which was funny to see the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah. Dude, I love BNL.
BNL, right? Oh, man.
Could be an easy joke. Can't help it.
Yeah.
Bruh. NBA. Since we're talking a little bit about it. There's a man in the NBA who I have a lot of respect for. I like the way he gets down. I like how honest he is. I like how upfront he is. And I like the way he is hype. I like the respect he has for his players. So much respect that he told them publicly that they should tank for the rest of the season. I'm talking about Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, everyone knows him. You may have seen Shark Tank, pun intended. He's actually great on that show as well.
Yeah, he's amazing on that.
I love that show, and he's a good reason why. Got on Dr. J's podcast and was talking to him, and this is what he said, and quote, "I'm probably not supposed to say this, but I just had dinner with a bunch of my guys the other night, and, I told him we weren't competing for the playoffs. Look, losing right now is our best option." End quote.
Does that also come with guarantees for their contracts next year?
It probably does. It probably does. Now, here's the thing. I personally don't have a problem with this situation because the NBA, as of now, and even when you drop it to 14% in 2019, has an incentive to tank. Now, what people are saying as an owner, you cannot tarnish the brand by saying things of that nature.
You got fined for it.
Listen here. Yeah, we're getting to that. Listen here. As an NBA fan, you telling him he's not allowed to tell me that they're tanking makes you believe that I'm stupid. I know what's going on. It's 18-40. If you win games, I'll probably be more upset at you. Because now you're saying, hey, next season we're probably going to have to do this again because instead of winning 18 games, we won 27, and now we're out of the lottery, and we're picking middle of the pack, and in a year that we probably don't have that great of a draft class. Just saying.
I mean, I feel like we have a deeper draft class than we do a good one.
To me, it remains to be seen. Because, we don't even have a stud squad this season. You had some good teams. You don't even got a stud squad in the college basketball. But and here's the other problem I have with it. It's not like they're taking half-court shots. You know what they're doing to quote-unquote tank? They're giving young guys more playtime. If you ask me, that's development. You're putting in guys to see what they're made of, to see what your future holds anyways. And hey, if they don't win a couple games, guess what? You don't have to feel bad about it because we are trying to get better players on the team as well to help you guys be successful.
If they're going to tank, they should get a really good troll soundboard guy for like when Yogi Ferrell goes up and misses a shot. Yogi.
I agree you shouldn't say it publicly maybe, but I think Mark Cuban could have done something like got creative with it, like put it at the bottom of like the Gatorade bottle, like, hey, we're tanking now. Like give them Valentine's Day cards with tanks on it and just like or, make, instead of having, like, balls cold water baths, so you can just put them in hot water and make
Or you should have made sure that it all went on one bill at that dinner and been like, all right, and whoever thinks that we should win is going to have to pay the bill.
Couldn't be any more than $600,000, which is what he got fined for talking about it publicly.
I've seen him give more to a bad idea on Shark Tank.
He's got the record for fines in the NBA. Like, he's not worried about that. And he's so stupid rich. Stupid rich.
He's got Sharknado money.
Yeah.
Bro.
I don't know who I'm more mad at. Him for making it public or everyone else for thinking it was a big deal that he said it.
Well, and I understand the concept of tanking. I know that my Knicks don't.
Nah, not at all.
And what's funny is the Nets don't seem to. Yet they do a really good job.
The Nets still believe in themselves for some reason. I don't.
Yeah.
They still think they're right on the cusp.
But I don't know. When it comes to this situation, it does make sense for them to tank. It is a little bit harder to get the number 1 overall pick, but really, who are you picking in this draft anyway for it?
If you get number 1, it's Marvin Bagley.
Bagley, obviously. Trae Young has fallen off a bit. They can't seem to win a game, and that's because he's not really he may throw a lot of assists, but he's kind of selfish with the assists, like in the sense of he only passes when he knows it's an easy layup because he's creating triple teams.
I hate that thought process. When I pass the ball, I'm passing to you because you're open, and I think you're gonna hit the shot. That's an easy assist to me. Like, am I supposed to pass it when you're double teamed and they're just gonna pass it back? That's not.
No, but you gotta make smart passes and make sure there's ball movement. That's how the ball gets to an open player. You don't always have to pass to the open guy. That guy can make the next pass.
He could, and I'd be okay with
it. Yeah, but I don't know about him.
They said the same thing about Russ.
And Rondo, and I believe it.
I don't believe the Rondo one. At least if you're talking about in 2008. When he was putting up 17 assists and crap like that.
Like, he's still crazy. Didn't he have a 20 assist game earlier this year?
Yeah, maybe about a month ago. I want to say it was 25.
That Isaiah Thomas Rondo fight was hysterical. Because Rondo ain't never going to get a tribute video.
Yeah, right. That's probably why he was salty. It's like, I thought we only tribute guys who put up banners.
I feel bad for Rondo. Rondo doesn't get enough credit for what he actually brings to teams. I know he doesn't have like the best attitude, but he honestly made that locker room better in Chicago after he called out the veterans for calling out younger players. And without him, they don't get to Game 7 of that. Yeah. And without him, they lost it. So
I think Dallas was just his only real bad stop, if you ask me.
Yeah, but he really didn't get along with Rick Carlisle.
Yeah. Him and Carlisle, I mean, yeah, but he wasn't shy about that either. He showed it on the field.
Well, he's never shy.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. You're dealing with grown men, so like, yeah, you're my coach, and I have some respect for you. But if I feel like you were unfair or you're not doing this correctly, and I'm gonna tell you about it. That's what Rondo wears on his shoulders. He's proud about it too, unapologetic, very much like the owner of the Mavericks. But until recently. So
let's get a little bit into this. So a $600,000 fine, whoop-de-doo. It's really Mark Cuban is fining the Mavericks. Because he's taking his money from the checks he gets for the Mavericks. He's going to pay that off in 3 home games. I say 3, not 2, because no one's going. But really the thing that bothered me about this whole thing is poor Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki has taken pay cut after pay cut after pay cut for this team so that they could go out and get good players. And they brought him Harrison Barnes. They brought back J.J. Barea. Didn't they have Chandler Parsons too?
They did, but he got injury prone after a while, and what are you going to do with that?
Never that good.
He wasn't a great player.
Is a poor man's Gordon Hayward.
No, Chandler Parsons is a perfect role player in a lot of different systems. I mean, he was great on the Rockets.
Perfect role player, not max contract.
He's not the guy. Yeah, but when you put up the numbers of the year before, it's just what the market proves. I mean, I'm sorry,
but for a guy who knows how to read the market as well as Mark Cuban does, you'd think he'd read that.
That he was playing really well for multiple years in a row, and he was up on his contract and wanted to go elsewhere. He read it perfectly. Then he got injured. He wasn't bringing Chandler Parsons there to be the number one guy. He was bringing him in there to help out the number one guy in Dirk Nowitzki. He's bringing him there to help out Harrison Barnes to give another shooter on the other side of the court.
Harrison Barnes is a trash shooter.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. The amount of shots he missed in that final series was obscene. That's why they were like, get him out of here, Kevin Durant.
No, they were like, Kevin Durant, get him out of here.
Yeah.
It's coming different. A little different. Yeah. Like, if KD wasn't going there, I bet Harrison Barnes would still be a Rock.
Warrior.
Yeah, I didn't say Rocket, huh? Oh, well, you get it. You know where he played. Well, here's the thing, though, for the Mavericks. That's, unfortunately, the least of their worries right now. So have you heard or have you seen the Sports Illustrated story about their former owner for the past 18 years? That's atrocious. I would
CEO, yeah.
Yeah, what's his name? Oh, my God. Usure, I think it was. Tadera Usure was his name. And this guy, I read a little bit more about him. He was a mogul, man. He was running things in the late 90s, early 2000s. Was Princeton grad. Got a law degree from Cal Berkeley, switched over, and then went into sports management. He was once upon a time going to be named David Stern's heir for NBA commissioner. And then he took over. When Cuban bought the Mavericks just before he became the president and CEO of the Mavericks. Well, apparently this guy is like harassment. What's the word? No, the one that comes all the time, again and again and again and again. It's like no matter what he does, he can't stop.
Persistent?
I can't think of the word. Sure, but that's not the word.
Serial?
Yes. He was just like a serial sexual harasser. Like he would do that. There was woman after woman after woman who had an account on this man.
And the problem was that then Mark Cuban brought in someone for HR because he had been hearing about it, and he brought in an HR person.
I don't think that was Mark Cuban. I thought somebody else did it.
From what I understood,
thought it was him who did it, actually.
No. But they brought in an HR person to hopefully help him, but that HR person was just as questionable. And that sucked.
Yeah.
But what really made it all worse was this went on for almost 2 decades. Yeah. And they brought in another person for 2 months.
This is when he went to Under Armour. So he left the Mavericks and went to Under Armour in 2015. I mean, maybe he didn't get there in 2015, but he left the Mavericks in 2015. And when he went there, the first lady who he approached and had sexual harassment things to say, she wasn't having it. And, in this day and age, and this is something I alluded to, they were like, how did it take the Mavericks 16 seasons to never even know about it? And Under Armour had 2 months. Well, and again, not condoning this. This is not right that he did any of this. The things he said, the way he felt he could act around women was not correct. But in this day and age, women are a lot more likely to come front and say what is happening. But,
as they should.
Yes, 100%. And I 100% agree with that. What I'm saying is in the late 90s, even in the early 2000s, it was a little bit still, women would be a little afraid to come out and say things because they were worried about what would be perceived of them or what actions would happen to them from the accused.
And it's a shame that there was an era where they had to hold back screams. Like, they weren't allowed to ask for help because in a man's world, it was weakness to need it.
Right.
But thank God we live in a much better, progressive time. It's not much better. But, because it's still happening, we're just more vocal about it. But still not a lot gets done. We need to be better about it. But it is very, very sad to know that was happening because, I respect the hell out of Mark Cuban as an owner. Yeah. I think that Mark Cuban is a very stand-up individual, and from what I can tell, he's a very compassionate man. Yeah. And he's really a man of the people for a billionaire. Yeah. I think that to see that this happened underneath him is just sad because as we went back to how did Patino not know about prostitutes? Well, how do we not know that there's a serial sexual harasser?
And it's your president.
And he's the man really running. Like, you get the final say on a lot of things because you can just pop in like Bruce Wayne. But
I mean, it seems like this is the guy that you work next to and you don't know this. I mean,
you're going to dinner weekly with this guy.
Some of the things that the guy would say to these girls, like,
it's atrocious.
I mean, there was one report he stopped the girl at the door and was just like, seriously, like, just one time, let's do this, knock it out, and I'll talk about it. Like, to have to go to work. There was another story about a girl who got the job with the Mavericks front office and was super excited, told all her friends, and like maybe posted it on Facebook or something, but told a mass group of people, and instead of getting like, congratulations, this and that, she got phone calls from her friends and from people that knew her name and was like, hey, when you go there, be careful. Apparently, their CEO, don't ever get stuck in an elevator with him because he'll probably put his hands on you. He'll probably talk to you in ways that you don't deserve to be talked to. That's crazy to know that you can't even be happy about a job you're getting into because you're worried about a guy who may put his hand on your thigh as you ride the elevator down and things of that nature. So it's just a sad story to hear. I mean, there was another story. They had a beat writer basically working for them who was beating his girlfriend who worked for the Mavericks and found out about it. He was arrested. They didn't read the police report. They took his word for it and what had happened, brought him back on. Then he did it again. He dated another girl who worked for the Mavericks years later. She showed up to work with a swollen face, told the guys that what happened, and instead of firing him, they made him sign a contract that he'd have no one-on-one fraternization with any of the females that work for the Mavericks.
Which is a general understanding that you should have with the company, not only that you work for, but have management and or CEO of. I know in fast food, you're not really allowed to fraternize as a manager. I've seen it happen, but
let alone a private company of the Dallas Mavericks.
Not a good look.
Yeah. Now, I will say that Mark Cuban took full responsibility for that beat writer and was like, that's my bad. I should have done a lot more and read into the police report more than I did. Honestly, it was a huge mistake to keep him around. He's no longer with us. I did fire him immediately as I read in and saw the details. And among everything else, we're doing what we can and doing everything in that to make sure that this is not going on in our company ever again. So hopefully there's no reports coming out that he did know about it because that'd be a real bad look on Mark Cuban. I mean, from as what we've said, and we've never met the guy, but we are led to believe, and from what we've seen, that he's a pretty good person.
Look, I feel like he'd give me an offer on Shark Tank if I brought him one.
That would be awesome. I would go to that show in a heartbeat. Shark Tank was awesome.
I wish I
way more than I did. But
oh man,
there's so much cool stuff on there.
So much cool stuff. It's like I feel like weeknights there's a marathon of it all the time on what is the channel? We don't have cable. No, I think it airs on ABC, and I think it's like CNBC.
CNBC, there it is.
CNBC, because they need more of it. CNBC started off like how the History Channel did, whereas like we're really serious about business and this and stocks, and like History Channel is like we do history and lots of Hitler documentaries, and then people were like, not gonna what that was the channel. You'd be like, oh shit, I landed on that. And then, damn. And then all of a sudden, now you see like Jurassic Fight Club, Ancient Aliens, Shark
History. We're not talking about the History Channel anymore.
But then like, Shark Tank on CNBC, and then you got like Jay Leno's Cars. Weird stuff.
Shark Tank was a hit, though. I'm so glad they did it. We should go on Shark Tank. That's what this conversation is about.
4th&20. It's going to Shark Tank.
About it.
We can help, Mark Cuban.
We got this. We'll take the hit. Nah.
Selfish.
Well, 4th&20 sports. I hope everything gets better with the Mavericks. That's my last word on it. I mean, there's not much else. It remains.
I don't really care. I hope everything works out for
really
Mark Cuban.
Care.
I mean, the Mavericks are trash.
Well, I mean, it's not like they're tanking. Oh. That's not the point I was getting at. We got a little bit of time. So you want to do some quick hits around the NFL?
Sounds good to me.
About it?
About it.
Okay. I got one for you. Kirk Cousins, set to be an unrestricted free agent, barring the thought process that the Redskins do not decide to franchise tag him a third time, which he said he would file a grievance if they did after they traded for Alex Smith. But the New York Jets,
I would take that money,
have said that they are ready to pay whatever it takes to get Kirk Cousins.
Like, open quarterback competition with Alex Smith? Who cares if you win? You're going to get put in anyway. And you're going to make what? Was it going to be like over 30?
Oh, way over 40. Did he get 44? No, it'd be 44, wouldn't it? Because what did he have last year?
It was like 28, I thought.
I'm pretty sure it was like 42 or 44 if he gets tagged a third time.
Bro, take that tag. Call that bluff, bro. Don't file no grievance. File a parade route. You can afford it. Yeah. I would literally just...
Or you can go to the Jets, who are talking about guaranteeing him $60 million in the first year, possibly. Yeah. They're also talking about it being a total of $100 million for his contract, if not more, for Kirk Cousins to come there. And then they can use their sixth pick on other aspects, like a real line or, some more defense, which, maybe a receiver or two.
Now, I know I look shocked, and I shouldn't because it's the Jets. Don't. Don't do that.
This is a guy. Now, here's a guy.
Here's a guy. Can you find my eyes?
His completion percentage has gone down a little bit in the past 3 years, but that's coming from 69.8 to 67% to 64.5%. A guy who's passed for over 4,000 yards in consecutive seasons, but a guy who hasn't won anything. But he's the hot commodity on the market now.
No, he's the best option on the market right now.
What's the difference?
The difference is he's not he's coming in I hate when they're coming into his prime, and he's had that, but he had that with Kyle Shanahan, and guess what? You're not going to the 49ers. They already paid the guy they wanted.
No, but the guy that is in New York is from the Kyle Shanahan offense. I had his name somewhere, but yeah, he's a guy. I had it somewhere. He's a guy who worked with Kyle Shanahan on developing that offense and being a part of that offensive scheme.
Was it Mike?
No, it was not Mike. It was another person. He helped him. I mean, by birthing him, but other than that,
he's assistant coach for a while.
So do you think he should stay with?
If he gets offered the franchise tag, take that franchise tag. 100%. No doubt in my mind, you gotta take it. And if he doesn't get offered the franchise tag, which would be smart by the Redskins, but they're also dumb like the Jets, I think really the best place for him is the Broncos. Broncos also have a good pick for linemen.
And they're shopping Simeon to get out of there.
And they also have the capability of having still a great defense. I mean, they still have good corners and safeties. They still have Von Miller. I mean, it just comes down, and this is more of the speed of a John Elway quarterback because he's already a developed quarterback. He doesn't have to actually look for one and develop it through the draft because he's never done that ever.
Ever. Okay. I did say quick take, so I'll give you one more, and then we shall move on. Andrew Luck, Colts QB, says that the second surgery is not an option. There's no need for that, and is very optimistic about being ready for OTAs. Do you make anything of this?
He's probably not going to make them.
Not going to make OTAs?
I've never seen a guy so optimistic for doing nothing. I mean,
he's throwing.
And it's gonna, and like, you know, good for him for fighting through pain all the time.
He's not throwing footballs, by the way. He's throwing weighted balls that are apparently heavier than footballs.
Good.
Yeah, I wanted to walk you into that. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's I won't believe anything till I see it, because I called from week 1 when they said he'd be ready that was BS. I was like, no, he's not. There's nothing that you have shown me, put on video, to make me believe that the injury-prone Andrew Luck would be ready week 1 of last season. And then week 2, there was no timetable for his return. At that moment, I felt like I believed that he'd be out all season. Didn't hold my breath.
I'm pretty sure in our preview, I was like, Andrew Luck's not playing.
Right. I was like, that's not happening. Get it out of your mind.
All right. In fantasy preview, you were like, I remember when I did that thing with Stefano, he had Andrew Luck as one of his top quarterbacks. It was like, Andrew Luck's not going to play.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck's not playing this year. I don't know if he plays again. I honestly, I'm right there with yes, Andrew Luck will play a game before Colin Kaepernick does, but it's probably in 2 years.
Oof, that's harsh. That's harsh to say.
Next game, Colin Kaepernick plays with the XFL.
No, I thought you meant Andrew Luck.
No, that'd be funny. I think, honestly, Chad Kelly, Johnny Manziel, and Colin Kaepernick should headline the quarterback class of the XFL. I think that would be good. And Baker Mayfield.
Nah, Baker needs to be in the NFL. Yeah. Baker should be in the NFL. AJ McCarron can go to the NFL.
Right? Why do I care about AJ McCarron again?
I don't know. They want us to have a sad story because the Browns didn't take him. You should have been happy.
Yeah, now you can just sign him instead of giving anything away for him.
That's wonderful. Well, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that is our time for the day. But we will be back. We're going to be back next week on Wednesday. Max may have an MLB preview coming up for you shortly. I'm hoping to have my NBA second half video coming up for you after whatever I atrociously may have said in the first preview. But
yeah.
No, actually, I don't think I was that far off, but I need to go back and listen. I'll let you know. But yeah, please hit that like on Facebook, Twitter, SoundCloud, iTunes. Follow us, tell your friends about it, share it, post on our walls, make fun of us so we can come back at you. We'd have a lot of fun doing it.
Write it in the bathroom stalls of your favorite bar, just to get people to know.
Yeah, at 4th&20 Sports sucks. Watch it at 5. And then you can see that you're lying, but, you get the point. Anyway, that's it for us here at WBLZ Sports, where we got balls. I've been AJ.
And I'm Max.
Peace.
Peace.